Hello everyone, welcome to my video. Today I'm going to show you how to make this colourful little pocket envelope, an origami envelope out of Lokta paper. You can put all sorts of things inside, I guess. I've popped a little book in. It's just a few little blank pages in there. Made a tiny little book, because you know me, I love tiny. You could pop a little card in, little tag. This would be quite sweet on a journal page, or even on a card. Actually, you could put it in the centre and have a little sentiment underneath, or your sentiment on the whatever you decide to put inside. So it's made out, the envelope is made out of the Lokta paper. Now I need you to listen to it. It's just something so yummy about its crinkliness. This is made from particular plant fibres, and what's really good about it is its creases. So it's brilliant for any kind of book making. So just slight rubber. I'm not even using a bone folder, and can you see how crisp that fold is? So it's really good for backing books. If you make if you make your own books, hardback books, you can back them with this. But as I say, I'm going to show you how to make this little tiny colourful envelope. I'm going to be using the Dinkles to add the colour. They're really lovely and vibrant, and they're really easy to apply. So what we need to start with is a strip of paper. Now, obviously, you don't have to use Lokta paper. I have. You can use just ordinary plain paper, and it can be any size. So this measurement here of this one I'm doing now, that's about 4 centimeters. So I want this bit to be 4 times that, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up making 4 squares. So this is 4, so this is 16, because that's 4 by 4. But first I'm going to colour it. So I'm going to choose, I've got my Dinkles next to me. Oh, in fact, I'll show you my Dinkles, because I have sprinkled them, because that's my favourite thing to do with any kind of pigment powder. So I cut some multifarious card with a punch, sprinkled the colour, and then glued it on the top with bippity boppity glue. Which I love saying, and is actually very good at gluing cards to plastic. And then some of them I've put the hole through. I've just not used that one since I made the hole underneath, so I just need to push that through. I've made slightly bigger holes on these than I have with any other kind of pigment powder, just because it's a bit finer. So that's what I did. Oh, and now I've knocked you, made you all dizzy. Right, let's have a think. I'm going to have a bit of pink. It's called burgundy, but it kind of looks pink. Let's have some, should we go for a bit of yellow, do you think? Pink, yellow, and, oh, should we go for some orange of some description? This one's called amber. Right, I've got a paintbrush. I'm going to dip it in my water, which is just off video. It's just a jar of water. And I'm just going to dip my wet paintbrush in my powder. And smoosh it on. You need the tiniest little bits. There's a lot of colour for your punch with this stuff. There we go. Let's add in some yellow. I did try, oh excuse me, I've got hiccups. I did try sprinkling it, but it just kind of made funny stripy marks that I didn't like. So what I want is a really vibrantly coloured piece of paper. So I decided this was the way forward. And some pink. Well, I think there is one called pink or something. Yes, there is, and I'm not using that one. I'm using burgundy. Sorry. That's nice. I'm feeling the heat from the recent hot weather with these colours. There we go. Now, what I've found is you get some lovely colour underneath, but also I'm just going to, because we're going to be using, you see both sides of the paper when you make this fold, so and just kind of top it up on the other side, just so it's equally vibrant on the back. Which is it, you know, it's not doing too badly, is it? Bits of this orangey one, amber, and get some of that burgundy in the corners. So I always say, yeah, if you're doing something new, you're learning something new, you're going to have a go, stick with colours that are your favourite, the ones that you're most comfortable with, and you're more likely, I think, to like your end product. Because the only new thing that you've added in is a new technique or new stamps or something like that. So I've broken out my comfort zone than I normally do and gone with yellows and oranges, but I'm quite happy with that. So there we go, that's what we end up with, a wet piece of Lokta paper. Right, so I'm going to give that a blast with the heat gun, so excuse the noise. It's quite a thin paper, so it doesn't take long to dry. And if you live in a hot country, it's probably dry already. These bits here reminded me of rose petals. There we go. So you can hear that's dry now. It's a little bit damp at the end there and a little bit damp there, so I will give those bits a blast. And this end. There we go. I know I will end up using this. I'll probably use a hole punch and cut that out, and then add a bit of stamping and create what would be, if they're on sticker baker stickers, but nobody will ever know when I've glued them somewhere. Right, so I've got my long piece. Remember, this measures, whatever this measures, you multiply it by 4 to get this length. So mine is roughly 4 centimetres, so this is 16. So I'm going to fold it in half. And rub that fold. Open it out and fold to the middle. One on that side and one on this side. There we go. So what I've effectively got is 4 little squares in a row. 1, that's where that fold is now. 2, 3, 4. Okay, like that. Now one of the end ones, we're going to turn that into a triangle. So we're going to just fold that down there like that, and then these two we're going to make a fold across this square. So this bit here is going to line up with my middle line, so I'll show you. Fold it down like that. The beauty of video being you can pause that later and rewind and see what we did. So I'll just show you again. That's the middle fold, and I'm just creating basically a fold diagonally on here. Okay, and then this bit here I'm going to flip up. So that goes there. Okay, then this piece comes over. This is where you can tell I've not quite been a square, but what I found with this paper is because it's so thin but really strong, because you've seen how much water I threw at that, and it's absolutely, you know, it's perfectly happy. Is if it's not quite right, if it's not quite straight, or you've not quite torn it right, or not quite measured it right, it's quite forgiving. Whereas something like copy paper or any other thin kind of paper, you've got to be a bit more precise with. So I quite like doing this little technique with these. This little triangle that we made before comes over, and then I'm going to tuck it inside there. And there we go. There's my little pocket. Now, I didn't think before about the sample. I pre-prepared the little bits to show you to go inside, but I made them to match the original one. Not the one I've just done. But anyway, I can still show you. So we'll do some more for these. So the little tiny book. Here we go. So I made this measured this a little bit smaller than my envelope, so it'll fit in. So remember, this was 4, so because it's now a square, it's a 4x4 square. So I made my little book 3.5 here, and then of course I want it longer. I want 2 because that's my back cover, and then I just cut some paper to go inside that's slightly smaller again. I think it was something like 3.3 by 6.5, something like that. So we end up with a little book like that. So here we go. We've got my piece of card, which measures about 3 and a bit by 6 and double that bit. And the new set of stamps, the Fay collection, there's lots of minis hidden in here. There is a set of 4 for the vine set, so it's got two leaves, 2 different leaves in there, and 2 sizes of flower. So this is, well, I'd call that a sprig of vine myself. So using some Shady Lane, let's pop that on there. Stamp some leaves as if they're coming down, and then another one coming up like that. Get the Wise Owl words. Now I really like these. It's as if they've been typed, and they're tiny words. So I mix and match my words. I don't necessarily match them to what I'm doing. I kind of go with what kind of font I'm liking at the time. So dab that off. I used Fallen Leaves. I've dabbed that off because I just want a hint of that text just coming through. Now on here, which is very tiny, let's just stamp that off. So this is to prove that I do clean my stamps. I just clean my stamps by stamping until there's no more ink. Take note, Joe Rice. We have a bit of banter about me and my cleanliness, my art materials. Now, the very last word on the owl set is the word blessed, and I love using this word. I use this whenever I can find it in things. So all I did was use the corner of my ink pad and tapped it onto there. Now you can see I've kind of caught whatever, I think it's truly. Oh, truly blessed. Could go with the truly bit. I think that'll fit. I'm going to extend it, say truly blessed. There we go. And then I've just used the edge of a baby wipe to rub it off round the edges where I might have caught some of the black ink. I don't want any of that on there. There we go, it stuck to my finger. Okay. So it's getting later and the shadows seem to be getting more significant, so I do apologise if they're bothering you. There we go. Oh, truly blessed. Lovely words, Tracy. Now, I like adding tiny little bits, so on here I just added a little square of just a bit of some I've been sprinkling my dinkles, and then I've chopped the edge off. So any of these tiny little scraps I tend to like to use. And before I do that, I'm going to just add a little bit of colour around the edges. I'll find a little bit of something else to pop on the end of there. There we go. Bit of green. But before we do that, let's get some. I might just use the Shady Lane since it's out, so I'm just going to just kind of draws it in somehow, adding a bit of colour around the edge. There we go. A glue stick. Pop that on the back. I like doing this on cards as well. And if you saw me doing the hidden paperclip, they've got almost little tiny collages on the back. I think it just adds a little bit of interest really and shows you've thought about it. Not so much as if you don't think about it. Okay, so 2 pages. Again, like I said before, they've been measured slightly smaller than what's going to be the cover. Pop them inside. And then you need a stapler that's long enough to fit your pages in. So just pop a staple in there. And there's your little book, which can go in your little pockets. I just think it's so cute. And the tag made in a very similar way, really. Well, it's in exactly the same way, only it's just, again, just a little bit of offcut. Stamp your vine from Little Vine Sprig from the Vine set. Stamp it down. And these, this background I'm using here, I just sat down the other morning and sprinkled my dinkles on my stencils. And very relaxing it is, I have to say. I'd had a very stressful week and I was not feeling stressed by the time I'd had a lovely play with colour, which then left me with a stack of pieces of card that I can just grab now to either use as a background for a card or a tag or whatever you're making, really. So again, I put it back on the acrylic block to do the when I want to be able to see the word, because I need that to be precise. But when I'm just adding a bit of texture to a background, I do kind of curl it up and just use bits of it. So again, I've stamped mainly over Truly Blessed, but I'm going to rub off the ink where I've gone over onto the other line with my baby wipe. stamp it down. There we go. Oh, and I made a hole in this before, and of course I didn't look very carefully. It's at the bottom. So we'll put another one at the top. So just get my punch and I just eyeball it, so I see whether there's that bit of card there is about the same as that bit of card, and pop a hole in. Little bit of string. This is string from tags that you just buy at the stationery shop. You know, this kind of tag. I just pull the string off them and put them on my own. But any kind of thread that you've got around and about will work. It's just this is quite a tiny hole because I don't know where my other hole punches are. Somewhere not where they're supposed to be. There we go. Find that loop. There we are. So you can add a book, or oh, look at that, I put it on the wrong end again. You get the idea. Honestly, it's proving that we all make mistakes and they're not irredeemable. There we go. Oh, it's decided to be fiddly. There. There we go. Oh, probably look quite nice actually in this hot coloured one, wouldn't it? The green. Oh yeah, it's a nice contrast, that, isn't it? And if you want to, you can add things onto there. You can add stamping on, or again, you could add some little bits of colour. You might want to use some of the paper that you made some. It's kind of the back from dyeing your Lokta paper. But just have fun and play. I think there's a lot of benefit to playing. So there you go, a little pocket full of colour. I hope you have a go, and if you do, let me know please, and tag me on the in the group. That'd be great. Thanks for watching. Bye.